And it is Andrei Boss.
Welcome, dear friends. As I grew, I observed an interesting pattern about my own life. At each single point in time, life is stressful. And every time I think, oh, I need to achieve this next step and make this achievement, and then we'll get better. The school sucks, I'll get to university, it will be better. The university sucks, I'll get to work and it will become easier. The work is stressful, I'll find my own company and it will become better. I have this gap in knowledge, I need to read this book and I'll feel it. But what happens with every new book, actually the to-read list becomes bigger, because I discover how much more things I don't know about the outside world. With next achievement, the whole new horizon of possibilities opens, and a lot of more things to do, steps in front of me. And the amount of stress got only more and more, and I couldn't cope with it. And as soon I started thinking that probably I need to change my own attitude toward it to live a more peaceful and fulfilled life. And I started practicing such thing as meditation. As I was practicing it more and more, my life became more calm and calm. So I was glad that my life improves. And as I like to experiment, I decided to sign up for the 10 days Vipassana meditation practice to get even better. It would be a vacation, I thought. It would be a relaxed time. Oh boy, how wrong I was. It was 10 days of imprisonment, of actual imprisonment. But at the end I indeed became a little bit happier, and I'll tell you why. My so-called vacation schedule looked like the following. I woke up at 10 a.m. in the morning, then followed the 2 hours of meditation, then the breakfast, the 3 hours of meditation, then the lunch, the 4 hours of meditation, and so on. In total, it was 10.5 hours of meditation and 1.5 hours of lecture. The last time we ate any food, it was 11 a.m. In addition to all of this, we were in complete silence. We were not allowed to talk with each other, only with the teacher. We weren't allowed to read, to write, to use our phones, or to do any other activities that normal human beings do in our everyday life that we get used to. That was my vacation. And please come. Hello. Sorry. And it was not easy, and it was indeed hard. Sitting in a row in one position pains, it hurts. The pain in the back and the leg was so hard that I wanted to escape from it. I wanted to run away, to run home. But hopefully I stayed till the end. During all this madness, during all this suffering, the teacher, with a big smile on the face, was telling us, be happy. Observe your feelings and be happy. What? I was observing my feelings and I was indeed not happy. I was actually suffering a lot. But at the end, all these rules finally made sense to me, and I understood at the end the meaning of all of it. Let's start from the beginning. We all want to be happy. We all want to live a fulfilled life, right? Who doesn't want to live a fulfilled life? And the logical question arises, how can you do it? How to live a fulfilled life? There are many different theories, of course, and Buddhism has their own theory. According to Buddhism, the cause of all our miseries and all our suffering are within our selfish cravings and aversions. When any object of outside world comes with our senses, it generates sensations and feelings. Through our ears, nose, tongue, through our eyes, skin and mind. We can't stop it. It's in our nature. And we like the good feelings and good sensations. We like when other people speak good about us, right? We like good food, we like good music, and we want more of these sensations, we want more of these feelings. And of course, on the other hand, we don't like the bad feelings. We don't like when other people try to offend us, when we feel pain, when we suffer. We want to get away of these emotions, of these feelings. We want to escape them, we want to forget about them, we want to replace them with something else. And both of the approaches are bad, according to Buddhism, because all the sensations have the same structure. They all arise and pass away. They arise and pass away. No matter how strong they are, they have the same structure. In Pali, the language of these days, it is called anicca, the changing nature of the sensation, the volatility of the sensation. And it is not wise to get attached to something that has a changing structure. Yes? Because when we get the sensation that we don't want, we get upset. When we get the sensation that we don't want, we also get upset. So better not to do it. But what makes the matter complex is that our brain is trained to automatically react to the outside objects and generate this sensation. We cannot change it, we cannot change our nature. But there is something we can do to break this vicious cycle, to break this habit pattern of our mind. We can react differently to the sensation that arises. Right? We can observe them and instead maintain perfect balance of our mind. Maintain perfect equanimity. When at Toastmasters, you tell a joke and people laugh, you feel joy, right? And you want more of it. But better not attach to these feelings, because it will also pass away. And who told that the next time people would laugh again? Huh? Or if you perform bad at Toastmasters, you will get upset. You don't want to repeat this experience. But why do you do so? It is also a sensation. It will rise and pass away. How you perform the next time, it is up to you. It is like a fire. If you don't put fuel into it more and more, if you don't generate more sensation with reacting to it, bad or good, it will get out. It will pass away eventually. Those two simple steps, those two simple rules, observing and maintaining perfect equanimity, it was all that I did during the imprisonment. The whole 10 days I was learning just these two simple steps. It seems very logical, right? Isn't it? Very logical and simple, but so complex to practice, to put it in the real world. And the meditation is what helps us achieve this state, the state of the purity of our mind. In Pali, it is called Dhamma, the state of enlightenment. And these 10 days I was taking the first steps towards Dhamma. Since I started practicing meditation, and especially after these 10 days, even though the amount of stress got only bigger and more on me, somehow I didn't suffer more. Somehow I actually become calmer and calmer and actually enjoy life slowly more and more. And this is beautiful, isn't it? It is. Even though this theory and the practice come from Buddhism, you don't need to believe in Buddhism and in Buddha to practice it. Actually, you don't need to change any of your belief, of your religion, to practice meditation and vipassana. It is specifically designed to be super simple and neutral to any nationality, to any religion, and to any belief, so that anyone in the world can try it who want. Can try it and make a few steps towards a more fulfilled and peaceful life. All you need to do is to ask someone or Google how to practice meditation, how to practice vipassana, and allocate as much time as you want and can. 5 minutes, 11 minutes, 20 minutes. whatever you want. And you don't need to believe in the words of saints, in the words of Buddha, in the words of some goddess. You only believe what you experience. You only work with your body and with your own feelings. It's that simple. Why not try and see what will be the result? Even in one single situation, if you don't react to the offensive word that someone tries to put on you, it will be already a huge step forward towards Dhamma, isn't it? It will be beautiful. Your life will be a little bit happier. Our teacher ended each meditation session with the words Bhavatu Sabam Mangalam, which means in Pali, may all the beings be happy. Bhavatu Sabam Mangalam, my friend. Thank you.
What is the difference between coaching and mentoring? Please raise your hand. And of course Irina will tell something about it. Please welcome Irina Grigorieva.
When I'm in green, I can tell without time limits. I have 14 minutes for my project. And dear fellows, have you ever worked with a professional coach?
Yes.
Any one of you?
Yes.
One more? Professional, the coaching, the word coaching is rooted from the sport activities. But nowadays, coaching is widely spread all over the world. I will tell you more today about what coaching is. What is the difference between a psychologist, a trainer, and a coach? And in a short role play, with the help of my colleague, I will show you how coaching works. Why do you think people go to ask for such kind of help from somebody else? Perhaps when they have a task or a goal and they don't know themselves how to find a solution, or how to solve this problem, or how to achieve this goal. In fact, coaching is unlocking the personal potential to maximize their performance. People with such kind of problems, people usually go to three types of professionals. It's psychologists, or trainers, or mentors, or coach. Let's clarify what's the difference between these three. When do people go to psychologists? What do you think? In difficult situations, yes, you're right. Difficult situations when mental conditions prevent them from moving forward in their lives. Difficult situations, yeah? What it can be? Traumas, illness or death of the closest people, divorce. A psychologist usually investigates your past and present. Past and present. And usually the key questions for a psychologist is: why did it happen? Why? Who is guilty? Yeah. Most of the time, parents are guilty of the adult problems of their children, but it's not always the case, of course. Who is guilty and how to fix how to fix. What kinds of problems, what kinds of solutions people approach a trainer with? What do you think?
Future.
Future.
To get some skills.
Skills, yeah, right, yeah, there's some skills. Lack of skills. Yeah, what it can be. Time management.
Public speaking.
Public speaking, right, yeah. Skills. Pick up. Why not?
Why not?
Lack of skills,
Walk
yeah?
better.
Okay.
Walk better.
Yes, yeah. And usually a trainer use his own experience to impose it to a trainee. He use ready solutions. Yeah? Ready solutions. The key message of the trainer is: I am a master, do as I do. As I do. What is special about coaching? Let's clarify and investigate this message. What is special? What is the difference between a psychologist, a trainer, and a coach? A coach uses your experience, your results, and your goals. Experience, results, goals that are yours. The coach works here and now. Here and now. The coach asks right questions at a right time. I will tell you about questions a bit later. Right questions. What is the key message of the coach? It's you who know the solution and how to find the way out of the situation. You is the key word here. How the process of coaching really looks like? Usually a coach asks an open-ended questions. What are the open-ended questions? Open-ended questions do not presume yes or no answer. The extended answer for the questions. And guide a coachee with the help of these questions to a solution that is suitable, right, for this man or woman. So let's go step by step through all these questions that can be different in any situation, but the algorithm is more or less the same. The questions are: tell me more about the problem. Tell me more about the problem. Usually the announcing a problem is just the top of an iceberg. If the iceberg is like here, the announcing the problem is up. And the reasons, there are many of them, are under the water. Tell me more about the problem question helps to understand the environment, yeah, the causes, the reasons. How do you feel? A great question. How do you feel in this situation? Is the person angry or frustrated or furious? What is perfect situation? If you have a problem, how do you see the perfect situation? here, at this step, coach starts to think how he can fix the problem. The first steps of solution start with this level. Why do you want that? Why do you want this perfect situation to have? What obstacles do you face and will you face when doing this perfect situation? If there's the next level of thinking, coach thinks how will develop and what he will do and what are the obstacles that he may face during this journey. The question number 6. What is the first step you are ready to do to fix this problem? And what would happen if you fix this? If you try to do what you propose? Remember, the coach proposed already the first step. And the development of this, what would happen? What would happen if you try this? So, as simple as it is, the questions may be different. Yeah? The questions may be, what will be the advice of your friend to find the way out of this situation? But the structure and the direction of the coaching process is just summarized like this. Okay, now I will ask Julia to help me with role play. So you sit. So the coach sits. Coaching session, the smallest coaching session is about 20 minutes, but we are lack of time, so we can squeeze them in less. You just recently said that you are overwhelmed with your work task.
Yeah.
Tell me more about the problem.
Well, I work a lot. I just start to work at about 8 o'clock. I usually come at work at about maybe 7:40, 7:30, and usually I start to work at 8 o'clock and go out of my work at about maybe 8 p.m. So I feel absolutely tired, empty.
What about weekends?
Of course. Every weekend, Saturday and sometimes even Sunday, I'm taking my laptop home, and every evening, even morning, I wake up at Saturdays.
Are you alone in your team, or do you have any?
Actually, I have assistant and I have one more colleague, but she has her own work, and me personally and my personal assistant, we are
Working together.
yeah, we are working together.
How do you feel about this situation? I think it's not.
As usual, human, I feel absolutely tired when I coming back my home. Usually I'm doing some home tasks with my daughters, and if I come home at about maybe even 10 o'clock, I don't have even time to do homework, to communicate with her.
What is the job responsibility of your assistant? Have you tried to just give some tasks to him?
That's the problem. My personal opinion that if you want to do something good way, perfect way, just do it your own.
Okay, I understood. I think that you're very tired and you are a bit frustrated about the overload of your work. how would you see the perfect situation, your perfect working day or week?
My dream is that I will come my work at about maybe 9:30. I'm just watching to my do list. What should I do today? And delegate some of this work to my personal assistant, and I'm sure that she will do it best way.
Why do you want all this?
Want what?
Wants that your assistant will take your part of your. You want more time to spend with your daughters.
Actually, yes, but if I delegate some work to my assistant, I'm not sure that she will meet a deadline. She will do all this work a good way. That's why I do it by my own.
What are the obstacles that you see in delegating the problem? Is it only that your assistant is not capable to do any job?
It's just my scares that she only I will do it best way. Only I will meet all deadlines, and that's just my scares.
What do you think? What your best friend would recommend you to do in this situation?
My best friend. Actually, they are saying that only family is important, and work will finish someday, and only family is important in your life. So just spend more and more time with your family.
Okay, what is the first step that you can do to improve this situation and to go home at time, but at the same time all the work will be done?
The best way, someday I will just try to fight with my fears, and will delegate some maybe short work, maybe not so important work, and we'll see what will happen if my personal assistant will do it on her own.
And what would happen if you try this tomorrow?
I'm not ready.
No, there are tasks that are easy, and some people, not such high professional person as you, can do. So what would happen if you give a task to your assistants that are not very difficult? What would happen?
The worst that may be happens that I will get some losses, maybe some financial losses, time losses, and so on, because if she will do it not best way, I will start to do it by myself, and I will spend more time that I just have to spend.
Okay, thank you, Julia. Thank you so much for helping me in the press of time. Just an example how, in fact, the coaching coaches look like. As a summary, I want to draw your attention and to focus on and stress the several points. The first is I'm in green. And the first is the coach asks right questions at a right time. And second, good coaching will lead to a solution that is suitable for a person. And finally, I like the quote of a head coach of US national football team, Pete Carroll, who said, "Each person has a great power within themselves that needs to be let out." little support, a little direction, a little push can help, and the greatest things can happen. Mr. Toastmaster.
So let's stand and everybody say a little prayer for technology, maybe it'll work. I'm tired of sharing the stage. I mean, being upstaged by PowerPoint, so I'm going to share the stage with PowerPoint today. We'll see if this works. And I'm lucky today to be evaluated by a real scientist. I'm a little bit nervous. Victor knows this stuff. Anyhow, I'm going to talk about the story of evolution up to humanoids. That's the first 99.8% of the history of the Earth led up to our separation from our primate ancestors. I'm telling the story in a series of 7 timelines, each one about 1/10 as long as the one before it. I'm going to contend that the same amount of evolution took place in each of them. Now, what is evolution? That's a rather ineluctable concept. Everybody has their own. But if you look at humans as the end product of evolution, I think I can make a pretty good case. These are my timelines. First, start with the history of life on Earth. And then I zoom to the age of multicelled creatures, which I call the age of sexual revolution. Now, sex is the big thing to do with evolution. Then the age of warm-blooded animals. That's birds and mammals. And then I zoom to the age of hominids. And that's as far as I'm going to go today, but to preview what's coming, I talked then about the age of speech, and then the age of agriculture, and then the age of Western civilization. Western civilization? Okay. Now, going back to the history of the Earth. Earth was formed about 4.5 billion years ago, and somewhere in the first billion years, life appeared. What's life? It's stuff that reproduces itself and has a metabolism. Simple stuff. But by 1 billion years after the Earth was formed, it appears that there were already stuff with cell walls and so on, taking energy from what was in the Earth to start with. And then, a mere 500 million years later, they developed photosynthesis, the ability to use sunlight to make simple sugars, and which process released oxygen into the air, which wasn't there before. And this gave an opportunity for other things to evolve that preyed on these simple photosynthesizers and decomposed them when they died. So there was more complex evolution went on after these things. It went on at a leisurely pace until some of these living things started to hang together in multicellular forms, maybe 1 billion years ago. We don't know, it didn't fossilize. And then finally, 600 million years ago, more or less, in what they call the Cambrian explosion, they started to leave fossils. Little worms died and got buried in the mud. They left fossils for the first excited paleontologists to find. And those worms got a little bit more complex. They did. And they developed legs and tentacles and other stuff. In the meantime, the first land plants appeared. Revolutionary because of 2 things. First, it put a lot of oxygen in the air for animals to breathe, and it gave the animals something to eat when they moved on land. Meanwhile, back in the oceans, some of these worm-like things turned into fish. And the fish had 2 kinds of fins. Some of them had ray fins, and some of them had lobe fins. And some of those little things with lobe fins used those fins to crawl out of the water, and they were amphibians. They started life on land to take advantage of the life that was now there. And then the reptiles figured out they didn't have to go back to land in order to breed. They were totally land-dwelling. And the reptiles dominated the Earth for about 200 million years, during which time primitive reptiles turned into mammals, that's where we came from, and dinosaurs turned into birds. there were also flowers and trees evolved. Now, flowers and trees followed a somewhat different evolutionary path because they reproduce differently. They reproduce by seeds and spores, which are tough little things. They have germinated seeds that were buried 10,000 years ago. You can't do that with birds' eggs or dinosaur eggs. So trees and flowers are just inherently more hardy, more resistant, which was important because there were 5 major extinctions during the time of life on land. The history of all of them is pretty much similar. There was huge volcanic activity that, number one, threw a lot of clouds and dust in the air and blocked the sun, and second, put a lot of carbon dioxide in the air, which heated things up. So it's a 1-2 stroke. Wham, wham. It's cold, it's hot. And it killed things off. As much as 90% of all land animals died in one of these extinctions. Not the latest one. The latest one, 66 million years ago, killed off the dinosaurs. They think this one was triggered by a meteor striking in the Gulf of Mexico, which shook the earth and set off volcanic action in India, which was the stuff that threw clouds of dust in the air and the carbon dioxide. Whatever it was, the dinosaurs were gone, and the little mammals who'd been nocturnal animals hiding from the dinosaurs and little birds found they were all alone. The dinosaurs were gone. So they moved to take over. Mammals became rodents, little herbivores, big herbivores with hooves. They became whales in the oceans. They became bats in the skies, and our ancestors, the primates, moved into the trees. Once in the trees, they evolved into monkeys, developing useful things for monkeys like color vision to tell ripe fruit from green ones, hands to grab branches and fruit, and big brains to, one, navigate the treetop environment, and second, to maintain a monkey society, which is pretty complex. There was a fair amount for them to eat. They could afford to get bigger, and they did. They developed into apes, too big to run on top of the branches, so they learned how to swing underneath the branches. Their shoulders evolved. And their brains got bigger, and their society got more complex. Now, just to put this evolution in perspective, after the apes came along, came the first cat that has since evolved into everything from tabby cats to tigers. And the first dog that's evolved into every kind of dog. We're talking about a lot of evolutionary time. Cutting to the chase, 7 million years ago, when we parted company with our ape cousins, they were big animals, living on the forest floor, not afraid of predators, and highly intelligent and highly social. Let me close by talking about how evolution speeded up. Why did it speed up so much? The cause of variability are cosmic radiation and copying errors in the DNA. Those are fairly constant. It's what nature does with this variability that has changed. First, our genome's gotten more complex. There's more stuff there to get mutated, more mutation. Second, sexual reproduction guarantees that the offspring are not identical to either mom or dad. They're different. And difference is the substance of evolution. Some of them are faster, smarter, hardier, one thing and another, and evolution favors those that are best adapted to the environment. Life on land changed things. The sea is a nice warm blanket. Life on land is much more variable, even without those great extinctions, which mainly affected land animals. Okay. Other things happen because all animals eat something and may in turn get eaten by something else. As the prey and the predators change, they have to evolve. As the antelope get faster, the lions have to get faster. Some animals modify their own environment. Beavers build beaver dams, great place for beavers. People have modified our environment unimaginably, we have changed our own evolution. And lastly, there's competition, usually among people, although this is also true of apes, among tribes and nations. We compete on the basis of technology. I, a Western man, stand in front of you today because we Western men invented the best weapons in the world, and we conquered the world. Up to a century ago, then we forgot. Human beings are more selective breeders than most other animals. All of you in this room are pretty careful who you breed with, I think. And certain peoples are very careful. The Jews, the Parsis, and the Japanese, for instance, are quite inbred, and they have selected each other for intelligence, and they're smart. And lastly, we have culture and ideas. Christians, for instance, used to believe strongly in children. Muslims still do. Muslims are growing. So that concludes the first 99.8% of the history of evolution of humans. It's the other parts, which are three more presentations, that are the most fascinating. Because if you think evolution speeded up here, you have seen nothing yet. It got pretty dramatic. Look for the next exciting episodes.
Read our minds. I believe that we even do not need to mention it, because for sure somebody can read our minds. First of all, by looking at somebody and observing whether he is upset or whether he is happy, we can already read, maybe not in details, but we can understand what is his mood. So it's the first reason. Then, how if not people and universe read our minds, how we can explain the situation that something miracle happens to us? We want something, and then by some accident it happens. I think it is because the universe can read our minds. Previous lesson, previous meeting, Anna told that some interesting things, unexpected, something that she wanted when she lost her job. Anna Sitishenko opened us her live lesson. She explains that she wanted a job, and she, in 1 week, very unexpectedly, she get it. And she explained it that when a person is ready for this, it happens in her life. So that is why I do not think that I would love to change my minds because somebody will read it. I would better start to be more careful to my thoughts. I fully support ideas of Andrews about meditation, about that everything in our lives comes and it goes from us. That is why I simply would prefer to be positive in my mind, and this way to attract only positive things and positive people in my life.
I'm having a magic stick, and by wearing it, you can imitate any voice you only can. Who would you call, and what would you say and ask? Can I ask you? Then her. Kate.
So, what I need to do to...
You can imitate any voice. Who would you call and what?
Any voice in animals, sphere,
Animal,
in
people, yeah,
anything, what I want. Okay. Hi everybody. I'm glad to see you. It's so pleased to be here. And what I want to try to imitate, I think I want to imitate something in an animal sphere. Why? Because maybe I'm a veterinary doctor.
No, it's because I'm a PhD. Do you know what does it mean? It doesn't mean that I worked really long time about my dissertation, more than 4 years. And now I stay here with you and will imitate some sounds from animal sphere. Okay. I wanted to try and imitate, for example, dog sounds. Can I?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask you to tell me some animal that you want to hear from me. For example, what sounds animals do you want that I imitate?
Hamster.
Oh my god, I don't know what is it, but I will try. I will try. No? It isn't?
Strange hamster.
Okay. Tell me please, what do you want to hear? What's
Some
that?
bird.
Some birds? Oh, it's easy. You know, I know what does it mean birds, so it's easy. No, it is not sounds.
It's bird.
Oh, it's red. I have to finish.
Yeah.
And the last sound that I want to imitate, it is my favorite sound, and I think that you will catch it. So, listen carefully.
It's a cliff and a castle with some trees. What it means? It's an ancient castle of my own family where we grew up and where our family began. That's an imaginary story I tell to people when they ask, what does it mean? Because when I made it, they were asking so much this question, what does it mean, what does it mean? It means nothing, it's just beautiful, I put it because it's beautiful. And they, oh come on, tell me please, what does it mean? So I invented this imaginary story, what does it mean? Indeed, I put it just because I thought it was beautiful and nice. And I forget about it in half a year. And now, about 2 years after I made it, now I start to understand why the market of removing the tattoo is 20 times bigger than the market of the people who make the tattoos. So it's just a fact for you to be careful with tattoos that you put. I still don't like, I don't think that I will remove it. I'll keep it with myself as a reminder of something nice that we can do for ourselves, just to please ourselves. And by the way, you can try the tattoo with the mobile phones. There are a lot of artificial reality apps that can allow you to put the tattoo on your body without anything. Just put your phone and the tattoo appears anywhere on your body where you want. So be careful and enjoy your body.
Oh, really, you understand that you're ready. Can I ask Victor?
Well, absolutely difficult question, by the way. It's not easy to answer when you are young, when you are 17 years old, or just searching around, or you're just closed in yourself, because everything around is just like a prey who want to eat you, and you're just a rabbit. So that's why just you're afraid of this world. Just accidentally, only people are just looking around for a perfect partner, because we want it from a youngest age. Usually, person must grow a certain period when person want to have a family, and when person want to have children, and at least when person consciously understand what does mean the family. Because some people, they do not like a family, and some people also, they do not like children at all. And definitely, we also need to recognize who is living inside of our minds and our actions. Sometimes this is a man with a woman's heart or just a woman with man's heart. So that's also the question, because our behavior is different. Sometimes it's more feminine, sometimes it's more masculine. That's why a person tries to find another half of his mind or her mind. And it's not always very easy, at least when you are just going to be ready to be married. It's a question everyone can solve it only himself or herself in a certain period of time. You need to grow, you need to develop yourself, and at least when you're just already matured about it. Some people say, I never met another person who had love only once. That's a really rare case. In many cases, an experience from many people proving that your heart will be broken during your life. And actually, if it's broken, that's also evolution. Evolution of your mind. So, because you will think that next person will be better. And usually this person is better. But then this person becoming worse. And you are searching for the next one. And this person will be much better again. And you're just, if you are broken, just the next one you will think it will be better again. So this is continuous process, and if you are lucky to find a person when you are matured and you find the same appropriate person who will satisfy you and whom you will satisfy, you are lucky. But this is evolution competition of a man and a woman, because this is, you know, this is ineluctable process. This is continuing through all this period of 2 million of years. When person is growing in his mind and trying to find another one. But this is an ineluctable competition, and it's for the future. So hopefully you will be lucky to be grown, to be mature, and to find your half of your mind and your body. Okay, thank you.
Sheep. My question, why do we count sheep? And who do sheep count? People or sheep? When they are trying to fall asleep, please.
Kate.
Kate.
Yes, nice to meet you. Hi everyone. And to fall asleep, everyone has different approaches to have a perfect sleep. Sometimes it's movie, sometimes it's sheep, sometimes it's rabbits, or wine, or tea, or coffee. It can be whatever. But answering exactly your questions, it depends. Because so you can not sleep at all, for example. And what is sleep? It's just restoring of your energy. I heard one theory that some people need really less sleep when they wake up early in the morning and have some physical training for like 20-30 minutes, and then they're energetic, they more in a good shape than people who oversleep. So yes, sleep is good. Sheeps are also good, but but feel what you want, and if it works for you, go for it.
To learn from, because for some people it's difficult. They train so hard to deliver the idea that they forgot that not all people can accept that information on the speed. That's why it was perfect as to the pauses and the speed of it, and your tone and that relaxing. You created such a relaxing atmosphere that I felt that I was already at the coaching session and felt perfectly and relaxed, trying to move ahead. You explained the difference. It was perfect because the topic was coaching, but you explained very simply, clearly and understandable the difference between trainer, psychologist, and then coaching. It was perfect for us to understand what's going on and how and what it's all about. You, for your explanation, used the flip chart. It was great because you added that visual aids and they added some greatness to the presentation because we could clearly understand what is the difference between these notions because they are very similar but still different. You explained coaching very nicely. I liked it very much. It's simple. The coach uses your experience, results, and goals. He goes here and now. It was absolutely clear and understandable and simple in that way of presenting. It was perfect. At the right time, by the way, yeah. And one more thing, there were several, but the key word, the coach asks right questions at the right moment. It was very emphatic and important as well. Questions were all in the flip chart. It was great because you had the time not just to listen, but to remember them. They are very important for our personal development because we can remember and then come home and try to ask ourselves what's going on in our life and how we can move ahead. It was perfect. And then that role play. It was great. It was gorgeous because it's not just a theoretical explanation. It was practical. You could feel that atmosphere of sitting with a coach, that relaxed mood, and trying to dig deeper in yourself. It was a great example of giving that role play. Perfect explanation of the teaching process was absolutely amazing because, as I already said, it was clear, understandable, and catching. Conclusions. You made 3 conclusions, but they were absolutely clear, perfect, short, easy to remember, and great. Just ask the right questions, then suitable solution for the person, and quote. It was great to end with a quote. It was motivational, inspirational to end their speech with a quote. Just need to be let out. That is as simple. It can be the conclusion of the whole speech. Just help people to let it out. It was perfect. I liked it very much. But one more thing, I need to tell something for improvement. Room for improvement, I have to. I would suggest one more slight thing. I would maybe to make that conversation with the person a little bit shorter because the time limits were a bit over, you were a bit over limit that just to make it a bit shorter, but the rest was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for introduction. Well, I'm a researcher and a scientist and I'm a biologist, so the subject of this evaluation is quite close to me. That was perfectly interesting for me. It really was an electable situation. So, but what about presentation? First of all, I couldn't evaluate Ram as a native speaker about his mistakes. Never mind, I found one, I will tell you later. Because Predator is written with one mistake on your poster.
Misspelled.
Predator, misspelled. Well, but what's about the structure? Structure was perfect because, first of all, you won this competition with this computer, so computer was working well. Because I know as a teacher is always you must be ready when computer and projector doesn't work. So you need to show it on your own fingers without maybe something posters to say something. This is evolution or this is beauty. So. Thank you for your very nice presentation, which you did it probably with spending some hours. Your diagrams with animation were really just, this was a good invention, quite interesting. So time was passing through very quickly, billions and billions years. I didn't understand what meaning the zoom. Zoom on 6, on 15 or 18. So you explain me later how you zoom the time. Maybe this is a zoom of thousands of years, something like that. But it's quite interesting approach, very interesting. And of course, audio and visual were working perfectly. And of course, when you pass to the situation of human beings and all these animals which were coming to the land, you just showed it with some imagination. You only didn't show how animals were going on 4 legs and when were standing to going on 2 legs. So
Next time.
no, yeah, well, so this your perfect animation was very good as well. So thank you. Well, so your gestures of evolution were perfect. And also, I delighted the idea. This is how to explain evolution in 7 minutes. This is very new, just for me. This is like a special situation for YouTube, maybe just even for our audience, because sometimes even 15 minutes not enough, 20 or 40 minutes of a lesson not enough. 7 minutes, this is a great challenge, and you won the competition with 7 minutes. But what about small space for improvement from a scientific approach? For example, I didn't hear the definition of evolution, for example. You wanted to say it, but you stopped the sentence. I will tell you what evolution is. And evolution, this is something like a process of changes of organisms, and these changes passing from one generation to another. And these changes, they are changing also as well through the time. And this, how we are passing and why they are passing, this is a miracle. And also, I would add also the definition, who is changing? Organism. Who is organism, for example? And also, then all organisms is also consisted of cells. So, and what is the life? We're talking about evolution of life. Life, who said it about it? You should say, for example, about giants on which shoulders you stood up. So, for example, about Engels. Engels wrote Dialectics of Life, and he said, life, this is what is the life? This is this existence of a protein's bodies. This is one of, and for example, there is a chemicals they are not changing, they don't have a metabolism, but all organisms and life, they're changing and they're passing these changes through the period of life. But this is difficult to compare chemical process and living process. But this is a miracle. This is a miracle of evolution to say about life. It's quite interesting. So I would add this point as well. And the next what I would add, why we need to say about evolution, because we have a great pressure of society, community, religion as well, and also it's called creationism on our mind and our children, that probably that life and nature were created by God. This is creationism. So your point of view, this is Darwinism, and I delighted that the scientists should explain this definition of great process in 7 minutes for children, for child. If you can explain it, a difficult process for child, this is a great scientist. So Abraham is a great scientist and a great teacher. Thank you for your presentation.
Let's invite the relator of today's table topic session,
Then Natalia, you did as well with repeating the question. Good technique to start, to give you some time to think. Then I like the idea you combine tribes, ancient ideas with the tattoos, with the present ideas, what we are doing. It was interesting combination and just good idea to deliver. You were smiling, it was perfect, but you were standing, not moving at all. The stage is yours. Try to move a little bit just to make some changes on the stage, okay? Thank you very much. Andrei, your visual aid on your body was great. I like the explanation, it was great with that. Tattoo, just the vivid example how to find visual aids, not taking visual aids but have it on your body, okay? Thank you very much, Andrei. Then Victor, emotional, expressive, as usual, enthusiastic, very movie gestures, raise of your voice, up and down, it was great. Just the pronunciation of predators, not predators. Am I right? Predators, they pronounce on the first syllable. And I like your idea with man with a woman heart and woman with a man heart. It's interesting idea. It's food for thought for me. Thank you very much. Kate, you were very confident on the stage. It was clear that it wasn't that easy for you to find the answer, but you did it perfectly. You did your best, trying to find some other ideas. Like to give it anyway. Just did your best. Thank you very much. And the winner of today's table topic session, our Kate won, please. Thank you very much. It was perfect because it was the first time and you did us laugh, you did your best on the stage. Thank you very much. This is the Toastmaster journal. You can read, enjoy, and come and enjoy our talkers. Thank you very much.